check this out. When I wake up in the morning, I thank God. When I leave out the door, it's two things I'm prepared to do. Get money or die. If somebody I'm affiliated with say, fuck you, ain't no sense in even come and talk to me. BWA Breadwinners Association. I don't get tagged. I'm not mad with the police at all. I ain't upset with you. Your job is to catch me. My job is to not get caught. That's my job. I respect it. I'm in the game. I respect the game. I accept the consequences that come with this life. To provide for my family, it's kind of heroic in a sense.
Officials tell us that Miranda Dixon was front and center during the show at Rumor nightclub when she went to touch the rapper's pant leg. But that's when police say Gates turned and deliberately kicked Dixon in the stomach/chest area. The kick was so forceful, it apparently pushed Dixon back into the crowd and caused her to lose consciousness.
That right there is a grown man kicking a teenage girl in the chest hard enough to knock her out cold. And the whole club caught it on a phone. As crazy as that looks, it is nowhere near the worst thing on his record, because a few years later, a judge would stand up and hand him real prison time.
The judge decided that he was going to prison for 30 months.
So you would think a man with stolen cars, a stabbing, and gun cases in 2 different states would carry all that shame quietly. Instead, he looks straight into a camera today and tells you he has never felt better.
For the first time, I really been happy.
So which one is the real Kevin Gates? The calm man at peace, or the one with the long rap sheet? To answer that, we have to go all the way back to a rough part of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where a little boy stopped being scared of a jail cell.
Like I say, man, you ain't got to respect me. Just don't disrespect me, man. That's all I'm saying. Please, I ain't even with the what's happening, but at the same time, I just want some money and I come from nothing. Please let me make it. Please leave me alone.
Long before the sold-out shows and the platinum records, Kevin Gates was just a kid from the streets of Baton Rouge, growing up around poverty, hustling, and very little to lose. He did not ease into trouble the way some people do. The system grabbed him while he was still a child, and the way he tells it, that first taste of jail did the opposite of scaring him straight. His very first arrest came in 1999, when he was 13, riding as a passenger in a stolen car. He wasn't even driving, but the police took him in and booked him at the jail like a grown man. Sitting in that cell as a child should have shaken him up, and instead it took the fear of jail away from him. And from that night on, a cell was just a place he had already been. To understand why a boy that young was already on this road, you have to look at the home he came from. Kevin Jerome Gilliard was born on February 5, 1986 in Baton Rouge, the oldest of 3. His mother was Puerto Rican, an English teacher who had him when she was only about 14 years old, so she was practically a child raising children herself, leaning hard on her own parents to help. His father drifted in and out and then passed away when Kevin was a teenager from AIDS-related sickness. So there was poverty, a very young mother, a missing father, and a house already full of pain. Then there's the part Kevin says shaped everything about who he became. He has spoken openly about being wrongly touched as a child and about how the grown folks he tried to tell simply did not believe him. He ties that hurt straight to the rage that followed, and he does not try to soften it.
For a long time, I exhibited a lot of violence out of fear. People salute me for a lot of stuff, but that was out of fear.
So by the time the streets got hold of him, the damage was already done, and the trouble only got heavier from there. By his own account, his first real juvenile charge came at 15 for aggravated assault, and he did close to 2 years locked up before coming home around 17. He's talked about how wild and chaotic those youth facilities were, even rougher than the grown men's prisons he would see later, and how getting run through them so young only hardened him instead of helping him. That same hardness is what brought him right back to his cell not long after he got out. Around 2003, the day after Christmas, Gates got into a fight outside a movie theater in Baton Rouge and stabbed the other man several times. He tells the story himself, calm as ever, and you can hear how little it shakes him now.
For self-defense. Okay. You know, in front of the movie theater, you know, I end up, you know, another self-defense, I end up stabbing a dude a few times or something like that, you know what I'm saying?
He calls it self-defense every single time, and the exact charge has faded in his memory because, as he puts it, he was in and out of jail so much that the years all run together. The one detail he never forgets is that he was already a convicted felon when it happened. So while most kids his age were finishing high school, Kevin Gates was sitting on a stolen car arrest, a juvenile assault bed, and a stabbing. And the heaviest legal damage of his life hadn't even started yet. Music was supposed to be the way out of all that, but the same cycle followed him right into his rap career, and this time the cameras were rolling for most of it. The first big grown man case came around 2008, when Gates, already a felon, was arrested on charges tied to a firearm and a controlled substance, and ended up serving roughly 31 months in Louisiana. That was no small thing either, because a felon caught around a gun and drugs is looking at the kind of charge that can stack years onto a sentence, and it froze his career right as it was heating up, while the streets kept moving without him. Still, he flips that prison stretch into a positive whenever he tells it, even claiming he came home with a degree.
Did you get a degree? I at some point I saw that, or I read in that you got a degree in jail, in prison.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
He said in interviews that he earned a master's in psychology through a prison program, even though nobody has ever really backed that up with paperwork. Either way, he came home, got back to the music, and started building a real name for himself. And that's exactly when an old case crept up behind him. Way back in 2013, on October 29th, Gates had been arrested on the south side of Chicago and charged as a felon carrying a firearm. Then he made the move that turns a small problem into a big one, because he skipped court, and that left a warrant sitting over his head for years while his career was taking off. That warrant was reissued in December of 2016, just waiting on him to slip. It finally caught up to him in the worst way possible, because while he was finishing a separate sentence down in Florida, that Illinois gun warrant popped up, and he agreed to be sent back to Cook County rather than fight it. In April of 2017, standing in front of Judge Neil Linehan, he pleaded guilty, and the court sent him away.
And the judge decided that he was going to prison for 30 months.
He got 30 months, even though he was facing a lot more time. And here is where it gets interesting, because Kevin tells this whole story like a man who got robbed, swearing the gun was never even his.
They allegedly say that I got caught with a firearm. I pled guilty. I was innocent. But I pled guilty to that charge because I was like, you know, a lot of times you could beat the charge, but you can't beat the rag.
That one line tells you everything about how he sees the system, because in his mind, fighting it would have cost him years he did not have. So he took the deal even while saying he was innocent, and he even breaks the whole thing down by the numbers.
When they came with the 30 months, they sentenced me below the guideline. The guideline should have been 36 months. So the judge showed leniency because I had been detained.
In the end, he landed at East Moline Correctional Center, served about 9 months, and walked out on parole on January 10th of 2018. But freedom came with a leash, because the travel rules tied to his parole started choking the money he made as a touring artist, and the small violations kept dragging him back in. He had already been picked up in Baton Rouge once for a parole violation after traveling without permission, and that same headache came back around again. He tells one story about walking in for what he thought was a normal check-in.
They had switched my PO. They switched my PO. So they call me in. I go in. I'm thinking I'm just going to piss.
Yeah.
Like, give an update on what's going on. Yeah, put your hands behind your back. Took me to jail. They say you traveled without notifying anybody.
He got so fed up with all of it that he eventually took Illinois parole officials to court over the travel rules, a case that later got thrown out. 2 states, 2 prison systems, and a man who could not seem to stay free for 2 years straight. And yet none of those gun cases are the moment most people actually remember him for, because the thing that put his face on every blog in the country was a single kick. This is the one that truly got caught on camera, but one that did not need a sketch artist or a police report because thousands of people watched it play out on a phone screen for themselves.
Kevin Gates is in some hot legal water. Hip Hollywood can confirm that the rapper has been charged with simple battery after kicking a female fan during a show in Lakeland, Florida.
On August 29th of 2015, Gates was on stage at Rumors nightclub in Lakeland, Florida, with the crowd pressed right up against the front. A young woman named Miranda Dixon, only 19, was standing in the front row, and she reached up and tugged on his shorts twice, trying to get his attention for her friend. After the second tug, he spun around and kicked her square in the chest, and she dropped back into the crowd, blacked out, and later checked herself into a hospital. Because somebody was filming the whole time, the clip went around the world within hours. The police charged him with simple battery, and Gates came back swinging with a self-defense story, bringing in the well-known lawyer Jose Baez and trying to lean on Florida's stand your ground law by saying the fan put her hands on him first. The judge was not trying to hear any of that though, and in July of 2016, Judge Sharon Franklin shut the motion down, saying she believed the fan over him and pointing out the holes in his story. Prosecutors then put a plea deal on the table, but he turned it down and decided to take his chances with a jury instead. That gamble blew up in his face. At the one-day trial on October 26th of 2016, a jury of 6 women watched that video again and again, even while they were deciding the case, and they found him guilty. The sentence stung even more because it came down harder than what the prosecutors had even asked for, with the judge giving him 180 days in jail, plus 1 year of probation, along with fines and court costs.
Waiting for a verdict in the Polk County trial for rapper Kevin Gates. He is facing battery charges for kicking a female fan at a concert in a Lakeland nightclub. Now, someone recorded that incident on their smartphone. News Channel 8's Melissa Marino is at the courthouse in Bartow covering the closing arguments.
This is video shown to a jury of 6 women. It shows rapper Kevin Gates kicking a girl during a concert at Rumors nightclub in Lakeland.
He decides to rear back and kick Miss Dixon in the chest.
Miranda Dixon admitted she grabbed the rapper's pants twice when her friend told her to.
Show us with your hands how it was that you reached out to touch his shorts. What were you trying to do?
Get his attention.
Prosecutors say the kick was criminal battery. The rapper hired well-known defense attorney Jose Baez for his defense. Baez wasted no time trying to show that Dixon isn't credible. He claims she lied on the stand when she said she didn't know she was wrong for touching Gates, because in the original police report, she told investigators she was worried she might get in trouble for it.
You just finished lying to the ladies of the jury when
Baez spent the cross-examination trying to show that Dixon had a reason to lie about the kick and injuries.
you're aware that if you're not injured, there's no money.
Yes.
On the stand, Gates admitted to kicking her, but said he was defending himself.
Is the danger of ever being pulled off the stage a concern of yours?
I believe that's one of the biggest concerns if you're an artist and you on stage performing.
That was Melissa Marino reporting. Gates was originally offered a plea deal, but he said no to that. The jury will get instructions and then begin deliberations momentarily.
Gates kept telling his side through his own music too, dropping a song literally called The Truth, where he framed the kick as a warning after getting grabbed. And remember that Illinois warrant from earlier? This Florida case is the exact thing that exposed it, because he was just about to walk free from the kick case when that old Chicago paperwork surfaced and dragged him up north. One bad reaction on a stage in Lakeland set off a whole chain reaction that cost him another full bid. Now, here is why this is bigger than just Kevin Gates, because he is far from the only artist who has lived this exact story. The same script plays out over and over in the culture. Look at Lil Xan, who in November of 2024 was caught on video at a club in Boston losing his temper and kicking a fan, and he ended up facing 2 felony counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and pleading not guilty. Same setup completely. A packed crowd, a fan crossing the line, a rapper answering with his feet, and a camera catching all of it. You see a softer version of it with Cardi B, who threw a microphone at a fan in Las Vegas after that fan threw a drink at her, although prosecutors out there chose not to charge her at all. And you see the deadliest version of it in hip-hop pioneer Kid Creole, who claimed self-defense after stabbing a man in New York using the very same self-defense words Gates uses for his own movie theater stabbing. Except this time, the man died and Creole was convicted and sentenced to 16 years.
From music star to murder suspect, the Kid Creole in handcuffs tonight after allegedly stabbing a homeless man in Manhattan. Good evening, I'm Christine Johnson.
I'm Maurice Dubois. CBS 2's Valerie Castro following this developing story live on the East Side with the latest. Valerie.
Well, Maurice, the Kid Creole, whose real name is Nathaniel Glover, was led out of this police precinct earlier tonight and charged with murder. Sources tell us that surveillance video near the scene helped police identify him as their suspect. The Kid Creole, made famous in the early 80s as part of the rap group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, had a very different look as he left the 13th Police Precinct, now charged with second-degree murder under the name Nathaniel Glover. Can you tell us what happened? Police sources say the 57-year-old Glover was arrested at his home in the Bronx late Wednesday after a man was found stabbed 3 times just before midnight Tuesday near 44th Street and 3rd Avenue in Manhattan. The 55-year-old victim pronounced dead at Bellevue Hospital.
It was a surprise. Never happened before in this place, this area or whatever. It was a surprise and scary too.
Sources tell CBS 2 the victim lived in a halfway house and had 17 prior arrests. Glover's rap sheet includes charges for criminal possession of a weapon, the most recent in 2007 for carrying an illegal gravity knife. That same year, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Though he said nothing as he left the precinct, Glover reportedly confessed to the crime during questioning. The motive for the violence is still unclear. Police tell us they are still trying to notify the victim's family of his death, so at this point they are not releasing the victim's name.
The lesson running through them all is cold and simple, because when there's video rolling, self-defense rarely saves you. And once the force looks way bigger than the moment called for, a jury is not going to forgive it. So that's the full picture of Kevin Gates, a boy criminalized at 13, a felon by 17, a stabbing he still calls self-defense, gun cases in 2 states, and a kick the whole internet got to judge for itself. The calm man sipping coffee and preaching peace today is real, but so is every single moment we just walked through, and he's the one who keeps them all on camera. What do you think about the life ordeal of this man? Let me know in the comments section. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.